Hello, what's up? I'm Flames, and this is episode 2 of the MUTFocus podcast. Today's Tuesday, September 10th, 2019. I'd first off like to thank anyone who listened to the first episode, and a thank you to anyone who's listening now. But with that, let's dive in. So I did not have an episode last week. I did mention that this may be an every week thing, or possibly an every other week thing. I'm still figuring this out. And while I am going to mainly focus on this past week and the week to come on this episode, I do want to go over a bit of what we got the week before, the week where I did not make an episode. So on Wednesday, August 28th, we got two flashbacks, Justin Houston and Marshall Yanda. Both are pretty solid cards. On Thursday, the 29th, we got two signatures, Cameron Jordan, left end from the New Orleans Saints, and Phillip Rivers, quarterback on the LA Chargers. What I can quickly say is that the Jordan card is pretty solid. He may only have 74 speed, but 87 strength, 90 power move, and 86 block should makes him a really solid card, even today. And unless you're a Chargers fan, stay away from the Phillip Rivers card. Only 83 throw power. That's all you really need to know for a 90 overall card. It's just not good. That following day, the 30th, we got two new veterans, halfback LeGarrette Blount and Clay Matthews, right outside linebacker. Neither one really stood out, so I don't really have to go over either one. But check them out if you want. Also on that same day, we got preseason team of the week. We got 10 new elites, highlighted by two heroes, 89 overall halfback from the Vikings, Delvin Cook, who has 88 speed, 89 excel, 91 agility, 84 carry, 63 catch, 84 looseness, 72 truck, and 87 break tackle. I faced this card a few times. He hasn't done anything too special, but it's a really good looking card. Check it out if you want. On defense, we got Bradley Chubb, 89 overall, right outside linebacker from the Denver Broncos. A lot of people were hyped about this card early on, but if you look at his stats, 82 speed, 85 excel, 89 strength, 85 tackle, 87 play rec, 87 block shed, 80 power move, 84 finesse. The two stats that stand out in this card is 80 power move and 84 finesse. For an 89 overall card, that's just not very good. He does have 82 speed and 89 strength, as well as an 87 block shed. But for an 89 overall right outside linebacker, his power and finesse move are just not good enough for him to be worth it at all. The other elites we got Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Myers, James Washington, Tanner Hudson, Daniel Jones, Mike Boone, Brian Burns, Deshaun Shedd, Mac Wilson, Will Harris, Nate Orchard, and Jermaine Grace. And finally, on that same Friday, we got Mutt 10 Patrick Willis, limited time card, who was, in case you didn't know, a middle linebacker who played for the San Francisco 49ers. I was really happy to see him back in this game. I believe his last card was in maybe Mutt 16 or 17, so it's been a while. He's 6'1", 86 speed, 86 acceleration, 84 strength, 89 tackle, 88 play rec, 86 block shed, 90 hit power, and 74 zone coverage. Overall, it's a really solid card, but the one thing that I'm not a fan of is 74 zone coverage. For a card this expensive, you might as well just go with Shazier if you have him, who at 90 overall, I believe has 9 higher zone coverage. But even if you don't have Shazier, I just don't think it's worth spending this much coins on this card. Because although he's fast and great against the run, he's just going to get killed in the passing game. People have disagreed with me on that, but that's just my opinion on this card. The following day, we got two new legends. Defensive tackle Alan Page, who played on the Minnesota Vikings. 6'4", 78 speed, 83 excel, 85 strength, 85 tackle, 87 play rec, 85 block shed, 82 power move, and 88 finesse. This card looks really good, although I've faced him a few times and he hasn't done too much, although defensive tackles in this game just don't really do much compared to edge rushers. But with that 78 speed, he'd probably be a good spy. He gets to the quarterback quickly when he's rushing the passer on the inside. And he has 88 finesse, which makes him really solid, with an 85 block shed, makes him good against the run. This is a really good card. And right now, he's $326K on PS4, $313K on Xbox. Not bad price for this card, at all. And then the other card we got, recent Hall of Fame inductee Kevin Maway, center who played for the New York Jets, who is 6'4", 88 strength, 88 awareness, 87 pass block, 90 run block, and 68 speed. The 90 run block definitely stands out on this card, and he's 87 pass block as well, so a really balanced center for you. And he's around 300K as well, so not a terrible card. You don't want to be spending that many coins on an offensive lineman this early in the game unless you have like 20 million coins, but pretty solid card. So I went through that week pretty quickly, but to recap, I'd say the best cards we got were Alan Page and Dalvin Cook, as well as Patrick Willis too. But again, just way too expensive for his skill set. So now let's dive into last week's content. On Monday, we got flashbacks like we usually do. The first flashback we got, Jarvis Landry, wide receiver, he plays on the Cleveland Browns, but on this card he's featured as the Miami Dolphins, his former team. He's 5'11", has 84 speed, 83 jump, 88 catch, 85 catch in traffic, 88 spec, 84 short route running, 82 mid, and 79 deep. Overall, this card, is solid. He has good catching traffic, pretty good route running. But the big thing about this card is he only has 84 speed, and he's only 5'11". So overall, it just really hinders this card and doesn't make him very good at all. But if you're a Dolphins fan, a Browns fan, or even on an offense where your receivers don't need much speed, this card may be solid for you. The other flashback we got is my guy, strong safety on the Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately, he's featured as a Saint in this card, but it is my man, Malcolm Jenkins. It's Malcolm, not Malcolm. He's a guy who I honestly thought they would save for a promo like Mud Heroes or Ultimate Kickoff, but he got a flashback instead. He is 6 foot tall, 80 speed, 85 excel, 71 tackle, 91 play rec, 79 pursuit, 75 man, 89 zone, and 75 hit power. So as much as I love Malcolm, this card is just a little underwhelming. And I'm honestly not really surprised because his core elite was really slow. I believe he had like 75 speed or something. So it's not really much of a surprise that his 88 only has 80 speed. It's just a real disappointment. Because he's really not that slow. He's not one of the fastest safeties in the league, but it's a shame that EA has to give him such low speed. Like everything else I get, his 75 hit power isn't the greatest. He's not the hardest hitting safety in the league. But one thing that they did do him right is his zone coverage at 89. Once you power him up, he has 90 right off the bat. But again, that speed is just too low. As much as I want to pick this card up, right now he just doesn't fit me because of his low speed. Speed does not matter as much this year at corners and safeties, at least so far. And I'm sure if you played this guy exclusively in the box, his low speed also wouldn't be as noticeable. But still, you want your safeties to be a little faster than that. He's not the worst card in the world, but it pains me to say this, I would take a pass on this card. So the following day, on Tuesday, this isn't MUT related, but we got a brand new Madden game mode called Superstar KO. A lot of mixed opinions about it, but basically what it is Madden's take on kind of a battle royale. You can jump right in, get into a game real fast. You pick between multiple teams with multiple different schemes based on how you want to play. You draft a few players and then it generates the rest for you. And you play a 2-possession long, overtime style game. And if it's still tied at the end, you play Tug of War, which is really cool. It's from the old NCAA video games if you played some of them. I specifically played them on NCAA 09. But Tug of War was one of the mini games in that game. And it's kind of hard to explain. Basically, you need to get the most yards total in 3 plays. Each player has 3 plays to get the most yards total. And your goal is basically to win, I believe, 4 games. And something else that's cool is that every single round, you could take a player from one of your opponent's teams that you beat, or you can draft a new one. So there's a lot of cool aspects of this game mode. I haven't played much myself, but I've heard a lot of good things about the gameplay of it. Unfortunately, though, and this is something that has caused complaints from people, the reward for getting, I believe, 1000 XP in this mode is only an 83 overall Odell Beckham Jr. in Madden Ultimate Team. Which honestly, I get it. It's a separate mode. It's not really about MUT in this game mode. They're trying to separate it and make it its own thing. And that's fine, but in my opinion, I think there should be some sort of reward in the game. There should be a reason to keep on playing it other than keep on repeating the game over and over again. It just kind of gets old playing the game mode just to play the game. It's not like it's not fun at first. But what I'm trying to get at here is there's no progression. There's no leaderboards or anything. You don't have really much to play for other than just playing it. And it's still in the early stage. I believe it's still in beta or it's in early stages of the game. But I think it needs to get some sort of overall progression or give more reward in MUT, which doesn't seem likely since they want it to be its own game mode. But those are just my thoughts. It has potential, and we'll see how it develops through the year. We also got a patch on that day. It didn't really fix much. It did fix zone coverage, apparently, and coverage in general, but I haven't noticed really much at all. Coverage is overall still pretty bad in this game. And other than that, some small things, but a big thing, it's kind of small, but it's kind of big at the same time, but the top 3 glitch was fixed. So it now shows the correct top 3, which is always something a little annoying. You want to see who your opponent has, and now you finally can, instead of just some random golds and silvers in the top 3. So then the following day on Wednesday, we got brand new heavyweights. The first one being left tackle Tyron Smith from the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, who cares about this card? He's a Cowboy. But in all seriousness, Tyron Smith, really good left tackle, well deserving of this card. But the card itself is pretty underwhelming. He has 90 strength, he's 6'5", 86 awareness, 83 pass block, and 84 run block. Again, just underwhelming. Like, for an 80 overall card to have 83 pass block and 84 run block, yeah, he's 90 strength, but the pass block and run block matter more. And the fact that those are so low for an 88 overall card makes this card just an L. So unless you're a Cowboy fan, which, gee, I feel bad for you, you've only won 4 playoff games in the past 23 years, unless you're a Cowboys fan, I would stay away from this Tyron Smith card. Because the card's not very good, and the Cowboys suck. The other card we got, left end Calais Campbell from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, he is a giant at 6'8". He has 67 speed, which is the downside of this card, but his other stats are 77 excel, 86 strength, 87 tackle, 89 play rec, 88 block shot, 82 power move, and 83 finesse. If you disregard his speed, which is pretty important, he's not that bad of a card. He's mainly a run stopper with that 88 block shot and 86 strength, but he also has pretty solid balance in power and finesse move. So overall, pretty balanced card, aside from his low speed. But him being 6'8", he's also going to bat down a lot of passes too. So I mean, he's a pretty solid card, all the things aside. On Thursday, we got no content, but of course, Weekend League did start. So that's a good transition to talk about how my Weekend League went. I started off really well. I was 11-5 at one point, but then after losing a bunch of games and only winning a few, I ended up finishing 13-9. I'm going to try and look at the positive here, and that is that I started 11-5, which is pretty solid, I guess. When it comes to overall trends, well, one big trend you'll hear in just a little bit, it might be a player at quarterback. He's a little fast. You maybe know who he is. But aside from that one player, there was less running than last Weekend League, at least from what I noticed. I mean, you still had your good bit of runners from I-form and single back, but it wasn't as bad as the previous week. Overall, this past Weekend League, at least for me, it didn't feel like there was a big overall meta on offense or defense, but that might just be my experience. But if I had to put my finger on a meta for offense and defense, I would say a lot of out routes, a lot of corner routes on offense. And on defense, you see a lot of people still running pinch bucko and man coverage. So that's how Weekend League was. Let's move on to Friday. Now I'll get into the big topic regarding Friday in relation to something we were supposed to get. But I'll first go over the MUT10 player we got for Friday, last Friday. And that is a player I just referenced to a bit ago. EA hinted at him a few days before in a graphic that they showed on Twitter as the original legend. Which makes sense because when you look at this guy, he was really the first overpowered player in Madden history. None other than Michael Vick, who I can proudly say played for my Philadelphia Eagles, but played most of his career, obviously, in Atlanta on the Falcons. If we go over this godly card, he's 6 foot, 88 speed, 92 throw power, 85 throw short, 83 throw mid, 86 throw deep, 86 throw under pressure, 91 throw and run, and 82 play action. Honestly, looking at this card, aside from the fact that he's 88 speed and 92 throw power, his throwing stats are they're kind of underwhelming. They're not really underwhelming, but they're slightly underwhelming. Only 85 throw short, 83 mid, and 86 deep. For a 92 overall quarterback, those are not very good throwing stats. Which means his power up to 90 overall is even worse at throwing. He still has 87 speed, but I believe only 82 throw deep, 80 short, and 80 mid. And I played his 90 overall in Weekend League a few times, and although he's annoying to stop once he starts scrambling, because I even put some spies in my D-line out there, and they couldn't even catch him. But although he's crazy fast, he did miss a lot of throws, which of course benefited me. That's off a pretty big sample size. I faced him about in half my games, as expected. But yeah, Mike Vick, the glitch himself, is in Madden 20. Also on Friday, we got 2 new veterans, who actually aren't as bad as the previous weeks. You got Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, which I'm pretty happy for. I may pick him up. He did play for the Eagles. He's got 87 speed, 85 excel, 85 agility, 86 jump, 83 play rate, 82 man, 78 zone, and 84 press. You don't want to put this guy in zone coverage, but with that 87 speed and 82 zone, he's a pretty solid corner to put in man coverage, especially with that 6'2 frame. I don't run much man than myself, but I could see myself picking this card up later down the road when he gets cheaper. The other veteran we got, Demaryius Thomas, 86 overall wide receiver, 6'3", 84 speed, 85 jump, 81 catch, 84 catch in traffic, 89 spec, 82 short route running, 80 mid, and 77 deep. He's a good run blocker in real life, but I don't even have to look at his run block because all receivers' run block is crap in this game. So with that being said, this card is not very good. I mean, he's okay, but he's not that fast. He doesn't have the greatest catching, doesn't have the greatest route running. 89 spec is the highlight of this card, but only 81 catch and 84 catch in traffic doesn't really mean much. It doesn't make that spec mean much. So lastly, on Friday, the hot topic was the fact that we didn't get Ultimate Kickoff. Everyone was expecting it, and although EA never straight up said it was coming on Friday, there were many signs pointing to the fact that it was coming, considering that it's called NFL Kickoff, and we all just assumed it was coming the week of the first NFL games. And while I was disappointed like many, the obvious thing is that the hurricane did get in the way, Hurricane Dorian. I mean, that's what we all assumed, but there were some that maybe thought that maybe it was never even in their plans, even if the hurricane never came, to release Ultimate Kickoff on that Friday. So we didn't get the promo that everyone was expecting. And everyone was upset, mainly because I think, at least for me, that there was no transparency on EA's part. They just straight up said on Good Morning Madden that Ultimate Kickoff was not coming, without any reason. And I think that's what mostly made me disappointed the most. But then later that day, Jake Stein tweeted out that it was planned to release Ultimate Kickoff on that day, but the hurricane got in the way, and as a result, it is being delayed to this week. And the top complaint to even that, well, there were two. One was straight up saying, oh, the hurricane didn't even hit Florida. That's no excuse. But I mean, how could they have known that it wasn't hitting? The city was closed for 3 days, they couldn't work on anything. They were prepared for the hurricane to hit. It was supposed to hit, but it missed. But the other top complaint was that this is a promo that was already set in stone. Being that it was a promo last year, they probably knew about this from the beginning of the year. So many thought they should have had most of the promo done before the hurricane even hit. And that I kind of agree with. And maybe they already had some of it done. But with so much else going on, 3 days out of the office can really affect things. And overall, I don't have that much reason to be mad at EA for this. All we can really say is hurricanes suck. We'll talk about Ultimate Kickoff again in a bit, but next let's move on to Legends, what we got the following day on Saturday. And I honestly wasn't expecting much, but both Legends are pretty solid. Especially because the first one is probably my favorite defensive player of all time, Weapon X from the Philadelphia Eagles, Brian Dawkins. I'm stoked to have this card in MUT. I've been waiting for him for a while now, well not too long. He'll end up being my free safety probably for the whole year. But a look at his stats, he's 6 foot tall, 87 speed, 85 excel, 84 tackle, 89 play rec, 88 pursuit, 75 man coverage, 89 zone, and 91 hit power. He is definitely to this point the most well-balanced safety in the game, and that is why he is over 1 million coins still, and it honestly probably won't change until we get another good all-around safety like him. Right now, all I have is his 89 overall, just because I'm not spending that much coins, even though he's one of my favorite players. But I definitely plan on eventually picking him up, even when he's like 600, 700k. But again, he's just great all around. He's fast, great hit power, great tackle, great against the run. He has great zone at 89. 75 man is not that bad. And you put that with his speed. Again, he's the best all around safety in this game to this point. The other legend, first time legend in Madden Ultimate Team, never thought I'd see this guy get a card. Gale Sayers, halfback from the Chicago Bears. And this card is really nice. 6 foot tall, 90 speed, 90 excel, 90 agility, 83 carry, 67 catch, 90 looseness, 75 truck, and 89 break tackle. To me, from a MUT standpoint, this is just a Barry Sanders that can break more tackles. Overall, really, really solid card. I may even get him eventually. Also on Saturday, and this took place Friday and Sunday too, but the bulk of it took place on Saturday. And this was tons of Twitch drops through Madden Live on multiple streams throughout the whole weekend. Part of the Madden Kickoff weekend. And I was kind of lazy. I only got like 4 or 5 drops, but you could get up to 20, 30 drops, I think, which ends up being a lot of training, a lot of silver exchange sets, and maybe even some golden elites too. So this is something I hope they do more of. They said they may do more of in the future. Really cool thing. Give content creators some exposure and get us some silvers. And then on Sunday, basically Christmas morning, after a long wait, football was back. It was so great to finally have football back. 2 really good games like Lions and Cardinals, the Colts and Chargers game. But more importantly, the Eagles got a W. They started off slow, but they came back and got the win. That's all that matters. Lots of great performances worthy of Team of the Week. We'll get to Team of the Week in just a little bit. But now let's talk about this week. On Monday, we of course got flashbacks. 2 more 88 overalls. The first one being Jason Verrett, cornerback on the LA Chargers. The Chargers being the team featured on this card. Can't recall what team he's on right now, but this card is overall really solid. The obvious downfall of this card is that he is 5'10", but his stats make up for it. He has 87 speed, 88 excel, 88 agility, 88 jump, 85 play 83 man, 87 zone, and 84 press. Again, he is only 5'10", so you may want to play him in the slot, but his coverage, his agility, speed, everything makes him up to be a really solid corner. And I don't imagine he'll be too expensive. We'll see. But he is probably a top 10 corner in this game right now. And the other card I was stoked to see him on MUTFocus, being one of my favorite players of all time, LaShawn Shady McCoy. Halfback who played on the Philadelphia Eagles, the Eagles being the team featured on this card. I'm so glad it's not Bills. But it is a flashback. His best years were with the Eagles. But man, oh man, was I disappointed to see the ratings of this card. Here we go. He is 5'11", 85 speed. I don't gotta say much else than that. 88 excel, 88 agility, 85 carry, 64 catch, 80 looseness, which is again really, really low, 49 truck, and 80 break tackle. And along with that, he only has 87 juke, which is 1 short of him being able to get jukebox. Just overall, a really disappointing halfback card. I wanted him to be my backup halfback to replace Tariq Cohen, or even to be my starting back. But Tariq Cohen just blows him out of the water. Cohen's an 87 overall, and almost everything about him is better than this Shady McCoy. So I'm not going to go too long about this card, too much longer, but really disappointed. And from an overall card standpoint, I would stay away from this card, as much as it pains me to say. And that also makes me disappointed that his future cards may not be good as well. But we shall see. So next, let's talk about my team. I'm not going to go over my team this time like I did last episode, because I really didn't do much. I barely did anything, actually. I did power up my Patrick Mahomes. I only had his 90 overall superstar card before, but I did power him up to 91 overall. And I did upgrade my Clinton Portis to a 90 overall, and it is noticeable. He gets a +1 in speed, but he also meets the juke threshold, and overall it's just noticeable. He breaks a lot more tackles now. Or should I say evades them. And the only player I picked up was power up 89 overall Brian Dawkins, who is chemmed up to 90 overall with my chems. And yeah, that's it for my team. Everything else is exactly the same. So you can tune into my last episode if you want to know my whole team. So lastly, let's look ahead at some future content that we are getting this week and farther in the future. We know for a fact that Ultimate Kickoff is coming this Thursday, and we'll probably be getting a special team on Wednesday night, showcasing what will be in the promo. And as far as what the promo is, we don't really know much about it other than the name. I mean, we know what it was last year, but who knows, they could totally change things up this year. Crowley did mention in Good Morning Madden on Monday that there's a dynamic aspect or feature to it along those lines, which should make it a really unique promo. As far as what that is, whether it regards to sets, solos, cards, no one really knows. But what I take away from that is that this should be a really good promo. It should really affect the market. Expect a full-on market crash to come. So one way to prepare for this promo, if there's cards on your team that you know you don't need, that you know you don't want, maybe not playing as up to par as you wish they would, and are really expensive, I would go ahead and sell them because they're only going to really crash down come this promo. It's always a risky thing to sell, hoping that the market crashes, but I'm confident that it will. I definitely wouldn't spend any coin right now, because why would you? Prices are likely all going to go down on Friday. So definitely keep that in mind. But as far as what we're getting, again, we don't really know. But if it's based off of last year, we'll have sets to complete to get likely 88 or 89 overall cards. And I believe they were called something along the lines of captains. And then all those cards will end up going in a master set. And I believe those will be around the lines of 91, 92, 93 overall. Last year they were Antonio Brown, Luke Kuechly, and Rob Gronkowski. And hopefully we can get one of those second-tier cards, 88-89, from solos. Because that aspect alone would almost make the promo a W. It's always good getting free cards. As far as players that'll get cards, it's hard to predict. Like I mentioned last episode, it's hard to predict because there's so many players that need cards out there. But just to throw some guys out there, Jadeveon Clowney, maybe Jalen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner. And on the offensive side, maybe a guy like Elvin Kamara, Adam Thielen. I could definitely see Drew Brees getting a card. And for all my Eagles fans out there, maybe we get a Carson Wentz. That would be awesome. And another aspect of this promo we may end up getting is some sort of store offer that we can re-roll for a certain amount of training, similar to what we got from the MUT Superstars promo. And then hopefully that will give us some coin-making opportunity. And if that ends up being the case, I'll sure let you guys know the best method to my knowledge on the next episode of this podcast. And next we got Team of the Week, which as I'm recording this, is still not out yet, but will be coming out around later today if you're still listening to this in the morning. Let's go over the lower rated cards first. We got 77 overall John Ross with 91 speed. Nice budget speed to receiver right there. Left outside linebacker Kayvon Kennard from the Lions. Cornerback Vernon Hargreaves III from the Buccaneers. Marquise Hollywood Brown, who had a big game against the Ravens. He's one of their rookie premier cards, so he will be getting an upgrade to 79 overall with 91 speed, 72 catch. The speed's nice, but I still wouldn't use him too much because that 72 catch, he still will drop a lot of balls for you. Moving on, we got Marlon Mack, 83 overall halfback from the Colts. Another rookie premier item, 81 overall tight end TJ Hawkinson, who for an 81 overall is actually pretty solid. He's 6'5", 77 speed, 71 strength, 82 catch, 80 catching traffic, 81 spec, 73 short routing, 69 mid, and 64 run block. So he, like Hollywood Brown, will get an upgrade on his rookie premier when Team of the Week releases. We also got Anthony Harris, 80 overall free safety from the Minnesota Vikings. Nothing too special in this card, so we'll move on. And James Bradbury, 82 overall quarterback from the Carolina Panthers. He has 86 speed and he's 6'1", but only 76 man and 73 zone. You don't get this card, he'll be beaten a lot by receivers. So now on to the higher rated cards. We got Corey Littleton, middle linebacker from the LA Rams, who's 6'3", he has 80 speed, 84 excel, 70 strength, 83 tackle, 83 player rec, 70 block shed, 73 hit power, and 72 zone. This card isn't too good, but based off of how linebackers are with zone coverage, most of them are in around the 70s, so the 72 zone I guess isn't terrible, but still not very good. Next we have Austin Eckler, halfback on the LA Chargers, who's 5'10", has 87 speed, 87 excel, 87 agility, 79 carry, 67 catch, 80 looseness, 64 truck, and 79 break tackle. For an 85 overall, 87 speed is really nice, as well as a solid 87 agility. I'm curious what his juke and spin move are, but from the look of this card right now, it looks pretty solid for an 85 overall. If you're looking for a budget halfback item, this might be it. And up next, we have Dak Prescott, who is an 86 overall. Honestly, he should be way lower, like 80, 82 overall. But whatever. Don't get too excited, Cowboys fans. He was only playing the Giants. But if you look at this card, he's 6'2", 78 speed, 83 throw power, 86 throw short, 83 mid, 83 deep, 80 throw under pressure, 83 on the run, and 81 play action. With all bias aside, I guess it's an okay card. At this point in the game, you shouldn't want an 86 overall quarterback on your team. Way better options out there. But for an 86 overall, this card is not very bad at all. Especially with the mobility that he has at 78 speed, which at this point in the game is pretty solid. Next, from the Tennessee Titans, 86 overall cornerback, Logan Ryan. And this is basically a clone of James Bradbury, except a little better. He has 84 speed, 88 excel, 87 agility, 80 jump, 81 play rec, 78 press. But again, he just can't cover with the 77 man and 75 zone. For an 86 overall card, this is just terrible. I don't know why you would want this card on your team. You shouldn't be paying that much for a card that doesn't even have 80 zone or 80 man. So that card's a big L. Moving on to the heroes. On defense, from the New York Jets, 90 overall middle linebacker CJ Mosley. He's 6'2", 82 speed, 86 excel, 72 strength, 92 tackle, 93 play rec, 75 block shed, 88 hit power, and 74 zone. This is a pretty disappointing card. His highest ratings are tackle and play rec, ratings that do matter but don't matter as much as some of the others like block shed and zone coverage. The 88 hit power is nice, but 75 block shed, he's not going to shed any blocks in the run game, and 74 zone coverage, he's just not going to cover. Maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on zone coverage, but in my opinion, why would you go with a card like this when Shazier has way higher zone coverage? Which, by the way, in case you don't know Shazier, I think you should. We are getting a captain exchange set soon, according to Craylow. I said this last episode, while Ty Law and Hermore are good, I think you should have Shazier at this point. Unless they're balling out for you, I would switch to Shazier because I think you made a mistake. But that's just my opinion. Back to these cards. On the offense, the hero is 90 overall Lamar Jackson, who balled out against the Dolphins. Quarterback from the Ravens, by the way. I always mention the team. He is 6'2", he has 90 speed, 85 throw power, 86 throw short, 82 throw mid, 82 throw deep, 90 throw under pressure, 88 throw under run, and 86 play action. This is basically a right-handed Michael Vick. And the biggest takeaway from this card, according to Jake Stein, he can get a tier 3 ability, unlike Michael Vick's 90 overall power-up, which means he will be able to get Escape Artist, which will make a huge difference on this card. But aside from the 90 speed, his throwing stats aren't the greatest, just like Michael Vick, only 85 throw power, 86, 82, 82 throwing stats. I know Ravens fans like my guy DeMillo will be going out for this card, and I kind of want to try him as well. I'm interested to see what his price will be. He is not the limited time. I thought he was. We'll get to the limited time in a bit. Based on what his price ends up being, I may give him a try just because of his speed and the fact that he can get Escape Artist. And then the last Team of the card is the LTD. It is 91 overall wide receiver from the Kansas City Chiefs, Sammy Watkins. He is 6'1", he has 89 speed, 85 jump, 89 catch, 86 catch in traffic, 85 spec, 86 short route running, 88 mid, and 86 deep. I thought this card would have like 91 or 92 speed, so 89 is a little underwhelming, but his catching stats are pretty solid. His price will probably really be expensive just because he is an LTD. So unless he is at an affordable price, I would stay away from this card. Even if you pull him, I would sell him. There are better value picks for a wide receiver than what this card will be. And that's Team of the Week. Obviously, the Lamar Jackson stands out. I think the Austin Eckler is pretty solid. And if Sammy Watkins' price is low enough, he might be a good receiver. So as we get to the end of this episode, I do want to hit on the fact that we may get Mud Heroes within the next few weeks, I think. We still know it is coming. Seeing Mud Heroes on the monthly rewards that was changed was not a mistake on EA's part. We still are getting Mud Heroes. It's just a matter of when. But if I had to guess, I would say it would be coming in probably 2 weeks. With it being NFL season, I think they're going to start to speed up the content and just give us more than what we've seen so far. I hit on Mud Heroes a good bit in the first episode of this podcast, so go back and check it out if you want. I gave a bit of speculation of what we could be seeing, some cards we might be seeing. So again, check it out if you want. So that's all I got for this episode. Again, like I said in the first episode, let me know what you think of this podcast down below in the comments, or hit me up on Twitter, @FlamesMut. Just give me feedback on what you think I should do differently, what you like about it, because I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. So with that being said, thanks for listening. I'm Flames, and you've been listening to the MUTFocus podcast.